Girls, 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 and would you guess it? More girls. Welcome to Genius Chapter 9. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Wait for it. This is the right one.
Now I got it.
Now you got it.
Now I got it.
Right?
Yeah,
Little
no,
Mexican
I love
flair, or Hispanic flair.
It makes me feel so worldly and cultural.
I didn't realize until like last episode that there was two different theme songs of the same one.
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? My name is Zach Silverman. We are here on Genius Chapter 9 talking about this episode. I have my lovely host Mina here with me. Lena, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey.
It says Mina. Oh, hey. Hey.
You should know me by now.
Everybody knows everybody by now. Guys, we have a wonderful show ahead of us. We have a great special segment later on that we'll get to. Let's get right into it. Let's get some thoughts on tonight's episode. What'd you think about it?
I was so invested in it. Like, I like it every time, but this time it was very relationship oriented. I mean, obviously, every single episode we've seen, it's been like, girl.
Hence the opening. Girls, it's girls.
But no, this time especially, it was like so focused on relationships, and I would find myself like rooting for one woman and then being like, oh no, but what about this woman? And being like, no, I'm totally team Francois. Oh, I'm team Dora.
Are you shipping people? Trying to ship?
I'm honestly team everyone though. I'm like, how did they let him do this to them?
Especially when it gets further down the line.
Yeah.
He gets more old and bitter and just like stuck in his ways.
I feel like our loyalty is like naturally geared towards Francois because we kind of.
It's been the bulk of the entire season.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to be with us briefly, but she's going to be here for the whole season, which is great.
It's so interesting that they did it like that. It makes me feel like was Francois his one main love and the rest his side chicks? Like what is the dynamic?
Yeah,
there?
I don't know, because I always assumed it was Dora, but maybe that would have just been because she outlived everyone and like was the one that lived the longest and died recently.
The relationship with Dora to see in this episode was so refreshing because we've only ever seen the really like
the ending of her relationship. This is what makes this show so good because it blends the old and new. Well, everything's old, but it blends the past, present, and future of that time together, and you get to see not the traditional way of how a relationship began. Like going into the beginning of the season, you saw Dora, and we all were like, "Man, she's back." Crazy, you know?
Oh no, the very first episode we're like, wow, Dora is so amazing and she's like this revolutionary.
Yeah, but it was
but
it was like the ending of their relationship. So like that first episode was great, but then the rest of the episodes were all like, oh my god, she needs to go, you know?
For real.
This episode I gotta say I enjoyed the episode, but not necessarily in the way that I normally do.
Yeah. Usually we have some historical context. We have like some emphasis on,
what's
like
going
art,
on in the history.
Yes. And this is the first time we don't have our baby Alex with us.
We don't have anything. I know.
Yeah, we don't have young Picasso with us anymore. So it was like a different
halfway through the episode, I kind of got into the groove of it. And I was just like, all right, I see what they're doing with this episode. I can handle this. It's kind of cool. We need to kind of. I mean, it's the second to last episode, guys. We got to like wrap up a lot of what's going on, and man, they just threw so many women at us, and they had to give at least an episode devoted to the women instead of to his arts, which because we got 8 other episodes, maybe 9 more episodes, whatever of it. So we initially started at 1952 quickly with Dora, which is a little interesting. I thought we were going to be done with her way back in episode 4, I guess it was, or whatnot. We get into a little bit of Dora, which is cool because it leads to something later, which we'll get into. But then we jump right back into 1925. What are your initial thoughts of going from, I think the last time we saw Alex was like 1923, I think was the last date that I saw prior in the last episode. And now it's 1925 and we have Antonio Banderas playing what Alex should be playing, essentially.
I never registered that until
you didn't register until I just said that?
Like,
okay, so pure thought. Go. What is it?
Yeah,
what do you think?
No, I didn't. I guess, like, because we were talking about this behind the scenes, like, kind of like, oh, like, you were telling me how you noticed that Antonio Banderas
there was that
almost
quick
playing
moment.
like an Alex Jordan Rich character.
Yeah.
Where there was like that blending in personality.
There's something about a smile.
Yeah.
The smile with the shading, the shading. It's not a painting. The shadow of the scene where the camera kind of like turned and he was just like circling somebody, and I was like, whoa! That's Alex right there. But do you like seeing Antonio play what would be essentially young Picasso, like getting into like?
I don't. I think
it's weird, right?
No, I just
because he's really got that
like
old man
Alex,
hair.
It's so weird because now that I've like watched, like now that I have kind of compartmentalized. Okay, Alex Jordan Rich is young Picasso. Antonio Banderas is old Picasso, and we've kind of like made that huge distinction.
This happened last season as well.
It's so weird to me because I'm like, no, but like Alex is baby Picasso, and now we have like because I associate Antonio Banderas in
as
this
the
role
older Picasso
as a very like harsh, like
yeah,
unlikable,
yep,
like very selfish type of Picasso, and I associate Alex Jordan Rich as like
the Picasso that no one really knew,
adorable, like up and comer, like really like had like a certain softness to him, like he hadn't yet been you know, corrupted or tainted.
Yeah.
Like he was more pure and angelic.
Man.
So like when I see older Picasso trying to like portray that, I feel like you can have Alex Jordan Rich portray like a hardened, like becoming like more cynical and hardened.
I kind of like how they did that. Like so they did this last season to us with Jeffrey Rush, where it probably was a difference of a year or two from I'm blanking on the other guy's name, the younger Albert Einstein, but they did the same thing to us, and it was a very jarring like, why? But you kind of get it. Older Picasso, there's a line drawn, and like if Alex was to be playing Picasso in his older years, it kind of would take away from the side of Picasso that nobody really knew, like what genius is giving us. The younger Picasso, where he was so romantically in love and untainted, untarnished, and believed in his work, believed in you know, breaking the mold. Now we get to see like older Picasso, and we associate Antonio Banderas with like this just like half man, you know, this guy that's just like, oh no, people should still love me, like I'm the greatest painter in the world, when really he isn't, you know. So I'm happy they did that. It was jarring, but I'm okay with it, you know. We get right into it.
I'm too attached to Alex at this point.
You know, Alex,
can't
I hope many
it.
more things happen for him. He's a great actor. We get right into it with Olga, and man, did Picasso make a mistake marrying that woman. He wanted something, and you know, sometimes he went too far. He had to get married to get what he wanted, and now he's regretting it. He is so bitter towards her. I feel bad for her, you know. Give me some reactions. What do you think I mean, Olga is just like going crazy out of her mind.
Their relationship is so dysfunctional because
it's not even a relationship.
He kind of makes it seem like she's this nagging, complaining, jealous person, and the way she's being portrayed is kind of like, ugh, like she's annoying. She's like a fly you need to get rid of.
Yeah.
But like everything that she says is a valid point. It's
you
a
need
valid
to grow up.
concern. Like,
yeah.
You know, you don't just like, I don't know. The whole thing just, it like rubbed me the wrong way, and I kept trying to think like, well, you know, like, well, what's the difference between like her and like Francois? It's like, it's weird. Like, he doesn't fight for her the way he kind of like wants to fight for, like the way he's in disbelief about Francois leaving him. It's just kind of like he can't wait to get rid of her, and she's not happy.
Well,
either.
I think the whole reason why he's not fighting is because he realizes he's getting older. I mean, we get to see last episode, Genevieve. He had no idea she was even hitting on him. He's like, "You're into an old man. I had no idea. I didn't even think." I think he's like really trying to hold on to what he has because he's afraid. You know, in your youth as a guy, 20, 22 years old, you run around the streets, you're having fun, you can get anything you want. As you get older, it's a little weird and creepy, and you know, I feel like he's feeling that, and that's why he was fighting so hard for Francois. Whereas with Olga, he's like, you know, I'm this amazing painter, I'm famous, I'm known all across the world. You know, why shouldn't I be able to get what I want? You know, like I shouldn't be. I've always been. My art is not contained. It's not within the mold. I broke the rules. Why do I have to conform to like a marriage? I guess I think that's what was going on with a lot of this, where she is a very old traditional I think she's from Russia, and he like calls her like a Russian princess. You get everything that you want, and you know what? That's how she was raised. You know that's who she is. That's who you married, and he's like forsaking her for it.
And I think it's really interesting that you bring that up, because I feel like class and status have a lot to do with this dynamic, where it's like,
that's all it is.
They're both at the same level. The only difference is that,
she
Olga
has
was
always been
born
there,
into it,
and he rose up to it.
And there's a huge difference between someone who is born into it, who kind of just like expects this as like the status quo, the way of life, versus someone who like really had to hustle to get it.
Yeah.
Who kind of like the difference is that someone who has to hustle hard to get it might not immediately be drawn to like the glitz and glam of everything, and like remembers their roots.
And this is what we saw.
Versus someone who kind of sees it as like the status quo, or like this is the bare minimum you should be doing for me to sustain the lifestyle I've always had. Yeah. Picasso sees it as like, I do so much for you, like I give you everything you want.
You haven't had to work for anything, and I did. And this is what Max was saying last episode, where he's like, you forgot your friends, like you're off doing all the riches and whatnot, and pretending to be this aristocrat when like we all know where you came from. Mm-hmm. So the separation between these two are really it's really showing, and it gets as far as to, he's like, we meet a gentleman who I did not get his name, but he is in every scene in all the from 25 to 52.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's a pimp, maybe, kind of.
I literally see him in every episode. I'm like, who is he?
But it's every time Picasso gets restless, he's like, he meets up with this gentleman, and he's like, I need something new. And Picasso is not going to say, like, I need a new woman. No, he needs to be told from somebody else, like, well, listen, we know the routine. You probably need a new girl. And he goes, oh, you're right. So he's never at fault. It wasn't I'm not to blame. But yeah, he suggests, he said it in French, a new amour, I think, a new love.
It was Amour
Fury or something like that, a fire of love.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
It was like something, it wasn't the word new. I can't even remember what the new was, but it was, or what the word meant. Oh, mad love.
Mad love.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was great, because it led us to a character that we saw initially in the first episode, that kind of just went away, which I thought we weren't going to get to know anything about. But we start to see a theme of the episode where we are getting to see all of Picasso's loves and all of the women of his life, and how they started and ended. It's kind of cool. Before we get to her, Olga kind of finds out about everything, and she wants to like divorce him. Mm-hmm. And again, we get another moment of Picasso. He almost divorced her.
She does give him a choice, though. She's like, get rid of her.
Yeah.
Get rid of her immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And then she finds out, because she goes and looks at the paintings that he has and finds out, like, you keep painting this girl over and over again. Yeah.
I think it's so, what's the right word here? It's so indicative of the entire season, where Picasso wants to get a divorce because he has fallen in love with Marie-Therese, and we'll get to her in a moment. But it comes to the point where he's going through the finalizing of the papers, and because of the marriage is you get half and half, Olga would get half of his paintings. Mm-hmm. And he is so the only thing he truly is in love with is his own artwork, his artistry, his paintings and everything. I think that's the only thing he really truly loves. And we see that yet again, because he sticks in this marriage with Olga and says the divorce is off. Mm-hmm. Who does that?
Yeah, I don't know. He's so tied to his painting.
He is. That's the only thing he loves.
But it's also about winning. He's like, I'm not going to give this girl even an inch. Like, I'm sure if it was even one painting, it would be a no from him. It would be like that stubbornness he has. Like, no, I'm not letting you get even a tiny victory over me. Like, he wants to have the final word. He wants the final say. He wants to feel like he's coming out on top no matter what the situation. We see that even later on when he goes, nobody leaves Picasso.
I love that line.
No one.
It's been thrown out so many different times.
Yeah. Like, what will people say if you leave the great Picasso? It's just like, he doesn't realize that, it's more than just being a painter or something. Like, you can be the most amazing person in the world when it comes to, like, your talent and the fact that you're like really good at a certain craft, that doesn't mean that you're a great husband or a great father or a great anything else. That never
connected in his brain.
Yeah.
None of that ever came together, which is like that. You know, he's just this great artist.
But you know what should connect in people's brains?
What?
That they definitely need to subscribe to AfterBuzz.
Oh, really?
On social media, everywhere. Listen to us on iTunes. But I also want to let you guys know that here at AfterBuzz TV Network, we produce after shows for nearly all your favorite TV shows, from dramas, reality TV, sci-fi, and more. There is no network that works harder to serve TV fans. But now, we need your help. We're asking that you please subscribe to one or more of our YouTube channels. Besides helping us a ton, here's what's in it for you. It caters specific content you already like directly to you. It brings out your favorite after shows so you don't have to seek them out. And it suggests content from other channels or podcasts that might interest you. So basically, subscribing to our YouTube channels will also help you discover new shows we're sure you're going to love. Since you're already tuned in to the drama channel, you might also be interested in The Bold Type, 13 Reasons Why, Queen Sugar, Queen of the South, Claus, The Affair, etc., etc. And you know, remember that we have channels for other genres too, so please don't be shy about subscribing to them either. And if you're worried about pesky notifications, don't be, because they're optional. It's super easy. Hit that subscribe button now for an even easier AfterBuzz experience. And if you let us know that you did in the comments, we'll shout you out on air. So, you know, you'll be YouTube famous, right?
Love it.
Thanks for being the best fans. We promise to continue to do our best to serve you.
Lovely. Love it.
No, seriously, it's so easy. It's like all of this is free. Who would have thought?
Not Picasso, that's for sure.
Yeah, nothing is free for the great Picasso. His paintings are worth millions.
A lot of money. So yeah, we kind of wrap up Olga and her whole story, where Picasso sticks with her, but moves on to his next muse. We get to meet Marie-Therese while he's having, I guess, an afternoon coffee of a sort. I thought this scene was hilarious because he's sitting there looking at girls, and we kind of at first see a girl that kind of looks like Dora. I was like, oh, is this going to be Dora? Cool.
I kept thinking that.
I was like, are we going to get Dora because of the first shot? And I was like, no. And then there she is, Marie. And it was the same actress that we saw from beginning of the season. They do a great job with makeup and everything just to make these characters look young, to look old. Picasso walks up to her, and he's suave, and he has this line of, I would like to paint you, and she's like, I'm sorry, who are you? How do you not know who Picasso is? She must be very young, by the way. Still lives at home with her mother and doesn't know who Picasso is. I almost think she might be like 17, 18.
It's so weird, though, because when I think about the makeup and costume design, they made her look so old, like when she was playing young Marie-Therese, and they made her look younger and like classier for old Marie-Therese.
Really? I
like,
kind of got the
when
opposite. I thought she was
when
kind of...
she had the bob, like the short haircut, I felt like she looked younger. And I don't know what it was. It's just like her demeanor obviously seemed younger when she was younger, and her personality seemed older when she was older.
She wasn't really knowing much, you know? She was kind of like new to the world. She didn't know who Picasso was. You know, he brought her back to his studio. And he shows her this book, this literature book, which I did not catch the name, but you did. But it's the equivalent to Picasso in that time where he was in literature breaking the mold of how to write poetry and sonnets and all these other things. And Picasso kind of equated himself to him, to the author, which was kind of cool. You could see he was like winning Marie-Therese over with this amazing piece of this book. And man, he is suave. He's good.
I mean, honestly, I think anyone could have gotten with her at that point, because like the fact that her self-confidence was so low where she would say something like, really, like, why would you be interested in me? All my sisters say I'm the ugly sister. Like, who actually says that? Like, that is so unbelievable to me that someone would say that, and that you would need validation from someone that you never even knew was famous until your mom was like, oh yeah, go if it's Picasso. If it's Picasso painting
it's hilarious.
You,
I mean,
it's legit.
Like, we had this whole scene where they're in the studio, and she's he somehow just is very... This is the first time, I think, that he's like cheating on his wife. Goes, oh, so you're a virgin, by the way. I'm going to take that, and
I will be your first.
I will be your first. And man, I thought he was going to kiss her at this moment. And he was just like leaning in right there. And he's like, you should come back. See me around 3 tomorrow. And that scene between her mom and her. Mom doing a good thing as a mom. Oh, why are you so late? Tell me the truth. You're not playing tennis. I met somebody, an artist. Oh, he's just trying to sleep with you. Like, I thought we were going to get some really good motherly advice here. And then she goes and says, oh, what's this guy named Picasso? Light bulbs going crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, her mother must have known something.
Well, in that case, sell your body. Like, go ahead for it, girl.
Paint. Let him paint you. Like, she knew exactly what was going to happen.
As long as he's famous, then go do it. Like, I don't know, something about it, like...
She wanted to be written in the history books. That's all that little scene was. The mother wanted to go down in history. It was super unsettling. She, like, whored out her daughter. It was horrible.
But even, like, when she went back to his place, there was something about it that felt so Harvey Weinsteinish, where I was cringing.
Oh, I was very cringing.
It was so uncomfortable when he's, like, you think he's about to kiss her or do something where he kind of seduces her.
There was no consent. It was just right away. Hand up the skirt.
It was literally, I literally thought, okay, he's going to do something suave. He's going to seduce her. It's going to be romantic. It's going to be kind of cute.
No, he was a dick. He was just like, you're late. And don't call me Monsieur Picasso. Call me Pablo. You will call me Pablo, he says.
But that was almost a compliment to her, where he was trying to say, oh, we're on a first name basis, and you're so lucky to call me by my first name when I am the great Picasso.
It was still like a dick move to do.
It was, for sure.
Because right away he knew exactly what he had with the woman, and he's like, oh, I have complete control. I'll do what I want. Like, I think that was a test right there, where, he's like, cool, she's okay with this. I'm gonna do what I want to do now, and so starts their relationship. It was very brief that we got to see it, but
she looked so uncomfortable. Like, I was dying on the inside watching that. It felt like it was like, I don't want to say rape, but it definitely felt
borderline.
Non-consensual.
Yeah. Well, they gave a little thing in the beginning of this episode that was different about like nudity and implied stuff, and it was not fun. Picasso needed to check himself back in the day.
And it's weird because when we were introduced to Marie-Thérèse in the very early episodes, like, she seemed like such a force to be reckoned with. Like, she seemed super, like, I am the only, like, Madame Picasso or whatever. Yeah,
there
was something about her that felt like, something about her vibe that felt very assertive, very, like, I'm not going to take any BS from anyone. And it was weird that when we see her, she's just, like, this little girl who seems so shy, inexperienced, naive, like, wide-eyed, kind of like seeking validation in a weird way.
Well, she got all the validation. I mean, he I think for a summer sat and painted her with all these things, all these paintings, and we finally get to the point where she's like, hey, you gonna like divorce Olga? I'm like, I have these tickets to the show. I would love for you to be there. And he shoots her down. It's the beginning of the end with this one. He starts backing off, but somehow he gets her pregnant. What do you think about that? I mean, we knew.
I wonder how that happened.
I wonder how and when that happened. I mean, we knew that was obviously a thing. We saw the daughter in the first episode, but what was your reactions to, like, her being broken, and it almost was like he was breaking up with her, and then she's like, but no, you can't. I'm pregnant. How'd you feel for her? I mean, like,
I was very pleasantly surprised by his reaction. Like, this is the thing. I don't see Picasso as, like, this evil person.
No, not at all.
The way I see it
is... He's a child.
I legitimately see it, like, if Picasso were living in today's day and age, he would be this disgusting human being. But I see it as, like, this is a reflection of the time. And I'm not excusing his behavior whatsoever, but, like, you're living in a time where there is a huge disparity between men and women. And obviously, there still is a ways to go for, like, equal rights between men and women. But, like, this is back, like, in a time where there was a role for the woman, there was a role for the man. You don't answer your husband, you don't speak back, his word is
just sit in place.
The final word. So to me, it almost surprises me when I see people like Dora at that time, like, wow, like, where did you get that confidence from to be that type of bold woman in an age where you were constantly being told, no, don't act like that, sit like this, do this, dress this way, talk this way, speak in this tone. Like, it almost surprises me when we see someone like Dora, because I always have to put my mind back in the fact that we are in a different time period.
Yeah.
Don't think that this is out of the ordinary.
Yeah, exactly.
This is normal. This is a reflection of that period.
Before we get to Dora, we did get to see Marie-Therese have the baby, little baby Maya. And, of course, right away when the baby comes around, Picasso loses interest, which leads us straight to Dora. He needs a new muse. He isn't painting. He isn't doing anything. I think he was writing poetry for a little. No, that was older Picasso. But yeah, it leads us to Dora, which I think by that time it's now 1935, and something was going. I'm bad with the history of this, but something was happening around right before the war. It was like just something good was happening in Europe, I guess, where women were more free with themselves, I think, and that's why Dora was who she was. She's a surrealist, all the way through and through. And man, did we meet her! I love the turnaround of getting to meet Dora, because we have
we see her on set first.
We see her on set,
yeah.
But we always have Picasso going up to the woman saying like, "Let me paint you." But what happened this time? We have Dora walking up to him saying, "I want to take a photo of you."
Right.
How awesome is that? Taking the power back almost.
She did this thing that was like, I feel like women still do this to this day, where she's like, I'm not going to go up to the man, but I will put myself in his line of sight so that he sees me and pursues me.
Pretty much.
And once he does, she plays like she acts like mysterious and kind of aloof, but still sexual and still kind of intriguing and intrigued in him. And it works because he's like, who is this bold woman? I have never seen anyone so crazy or daring. And she's doing the knife thing.
He asked for her gloves, and then they go back to her studio. And I would have wished to see more, but she starts taking his picture, and he's like, I never got into the medium. And she's explaining why it's something important to her, which is cool to see the other side of it. Leads us into our special segment for today.
Yeah.
We always have a picture of the day, but today, instead of it being Picasso, we actually have a picture that Dora actually took of Picasso while he was painting Guernica, which we got to see earlier in episode 3 or 4, I think it was. Giant painting, and it's so cool to get to see this aspect of it, because in the show we're always seeing Picasso painting and whatnot. We're never watching someone watch him,
right? So
we're getting that perspective of Dora in the studio that we initially got to meet everybody in. So I don't know, I thought it would be nice to give a little ode to Dora, because she dealt with a lot with that man. So
there's a lot of shadows, and like
it's beautiful. She's an amazing photographer.
Amazing thing with like light and dark and contrast and the sun coming in through the windows. It's just like, I don't know, how does it make you feel looking at the painting? Like, what do you think it evokes within you?
Oh man, I could go on forever. I like, first off, that like Picasso, she decided to get Picasso in the corner, like hidden in the dark. I don't know whether that like had something to do with like, obviously she could have chosen when she wanted to take the photo, and Picasso, there's a lot of parts where there's a lot of light. I guess in this period, at least in the show, it was showing there was some turmoil between the two of them. He's kind of in the dark and like cowering away, and then the highlight of the photo itself is the actual painting a little bit with the light coming through. So a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? It can mean so many different things.
I feel like my eyes don't know where to go when I look at this picture. I'm just it feels like an I Spy book, where I'm like, what's going on in this photo? It's so beautiful and interesting, and
I like it.
We actually have an inside glimpse into this genius's world.
Right? It's very cool. I'm glad we got to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Dora for you. So, I guess, where does it lead us? Dora, we get to see.
We have Olga, Marie-Therese, Dora.
Well,
Francois.
We're coming towards an end of 1935. We are initially getting to the beginning of Dora and Picasso's relationship, which we didn't get in the beginning of the season. It's cool. Again, turning of power. Dora is buying a studio for Picasso, and Picasso's like, "Look, I can't live with you." And she's like, "Honey, I wouldn't be able to live with you either. You drive me nuts." Picasso thinks he's got a perfect thing. He's like, "Cool. Awesome. All right."
He is definitely more attracted to her because of this.
Oh, 100%. I think that's why they had
such a like cat and mouse weird dynamic where it's
100%.
like, usually I feel like Picasso wants to be the dominant one, and I think this is an interesting way where he like relinquishes control, and there's some parts of their dynamic that feel very BDSM like. It's so bizarre to me, but I'm like, there's something about their dynamic where I'm like, I see the appeal. Like,
I wrote
this is
down,
actually a really like sexy, like,
I said that this
different
relationship was the one that I feel like should have worked, that should have gone through and through. If
Yeah.
Francois never came to the picture,
It makes
I feel
the
like
most sense.
it makes, oh my god, yes, 100%. I feel like if Francois never came to the picture, something with Dora, there would have been kids, you know, maybe even a divorce, who knows, with Olga. But it leads us right up into 1952, where we get to see older Picasso. I guess we'll call him bald Picasso, because we have Antonio with the weird haircut and now bald Picasso. And he's at it again. Another girl. We got Genevieve. We have Francois. We have, at the end of the episode, we even have his assistant's cousin. I mean, we don't have a lot of time, but
Does that actually even happen though? I kept thinking like, is that
we'll
gonna
see
be a
next.
thing?
We'll see next episode. The bulk of 1952 is revolving around Francois finally standing her ground. Finally, she gets to do what she wants. She's offered a job in Paris to design costumes and sets. At first, she doesn't want to do it. She's like, oh, but Picasso. But we have Costas. Costas, who's encouraging her. No, like, Picasso's off running around. Everyone knows what he's doing. Like, do what you need to do. And it isn't until she finds out that there's this woman, Genevieve, this 22-year-old Paris chick, I guess, that like she gets her own little flat to hang out with Picasso. She's like, screw this, I'm going away.
Doesn't it creep you out that Maya and Genevieve are around the same age? I don't know. I don't just
From when I saw that, yeah. And let's talk about Maya really quickly, because she had like this whole time Picasso's so stubborn. No, you can't go. No, oh, you're doing bad by your kids. And he's complaining to his own daughter, Maya, who's finally like watching his younger sons, and Maya says something beautiful. You know, like, don't hate on her. She's your champion.
You should support her. Yeah, you should champion her, and you know, like, I was so shocked when I saw like how she was trying to defend someone that
I would not
has
expect
basically stolen away her time with her
yeah.
father. Like the fact that she is supporting Francois and like trying to reason with her father.
She kind of gets it though, I think.
It's so crazy to me. I'm like, in what world? Like, Maya is such a beautiful person
She's
to kind
very
of
worldly and wise.
to be like that. Yeah, I was shocked.
I don't know how that I would have.
And she said, you know, she basically said Francois is not like Mama. Like, she's not going to deal with this BS. She's very independent.
Well, she told her. She's like, she's going to leave you.
She's going to leave. Yeah. She warns him.
And what else happens? We get to go to the play. It's a great hit. Picasso's so happy. You get this great scene where, like, Francois thinks, like, oh, you're here for me, actually? And he's like, yes, and then you could come home and watch the kids and be a mother again. And it just, like, everything just fell. Mm-hmm. You know, carpet ripped right out from him. She leaves him. Mm-hmm. What'd you think about it? Finally.
You know, I always imagined that when this would happen, I would be like, yes, Francois, yes, you do it. And, like, I would feel no...
You go, girl, kind of.
I honestly thought, like, I would feel no sort of, like, empathy for Picasso. Like, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, you got what you deserved. Like, you totally neglected this girl. You cheated on her.
You feel bad for Picasso.
I don't know why though. Like,
I
don't know why I felt so bad for him. It was so weird because
it's an old man who's realizing it. Like, he's like, I just messed up. Like, this was the last love I could ever have, and like, why am I like he saw himself saying what he said. Like, Antonio, the camera work and everything, beautiful scene where like he portrayed perfectly him knowing what he was saying, pissed off at himself, but still went through with it because he's an old stubborn man. Mm-hmm. And then he, in a quick moment when she turned away, he like,
it looked like he was gonna cry.
Yeah, and then he's like, no, I will truck on. I am this great Picasso. He's fading. Mm-hmm. He's fading. That's kind of what's happening now.
It's so sad when you think about it, because someone who has so much artistic brilliance, who's always kind of like,
just can't get a clue.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's so weird to see
this
him
is what makes them
in this state where he's like always the one in power. He's always the one that's being revered and respected, and girls are like fawning over him and they're in love with him, and he doesn't have to do much. And it's like, this is the one time we kind of feel like his world is slipping away from him, and
yep.
It's sad. Like, I felt sad watching it, but I was like, Francois needs to do what's best for Francois.
I'm so happy Francois left.
And she was so honest. She wasn't being vindictive. She wasn't being spiteful. Nope. She wasn't doing this just to hurt him. She legitimately tried her best to stick it through she never, like, I don't even feel like she got revenge on him when
No,
she
doesn't
cheated.
need to. No, there
It
was
felt
none.
very much like, I'm going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to put Francois number one.
Yep.
I'm not going to continue to put someone number one when I'm not number one in their lives. And I always say this, never make someone a priority in your life if you're just an option in theirs. It just does not make sense to me. You know, things need to be equal.
He got what had coming to him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of
part of me is like, I wonder if he ever tried to win her back. Like, maybe we'll see that next episode. But
I don't think so.
think so?
Let's get into predictions. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Thank you, Tony.
I don't know, like, we got a little glimpse of what's to come, and we see that Francois, like, we already know that she wrote this autobiography about Pablo Picasso, but I guess in next week's episode, we're really going to find out what prompted her to do this. Like, was it...
Something bad must have happened, and we're going to get to see
like,
that, I feel like.
I feel like Picasso basically tried to ruin her reputation and make it seem like she was some sort of, like, quote-unquote, like, whore for leaving.
Yep.
And, like, how could she do this and abandon me and abandon her kids, even though that's not what she did.
She took the kids.
I love that Francois is basically getting an opportunity to share her story. Because how often do we see a woman getting her own story,
Never.
the way she wants it portrayed, validated in the media?
Yeah.
This is incredible. Like, I'm so excited for the finale. It's bittersweet.
It is bittersweet, so we
I
have a
can't-
great episode. I mean,
don't
you
know.
pretty much took everything I wanted to say, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Guys, next week is the last episode. It's the finale. We're excited. So I hope everyone joins us. We love reactions and whatnot. Mina, why don't you tell us, everyone, where they can find you? And we'll wrap it up.
Yeah, you guys can find me on Instagram at Mina Makes Magic, and you can also follow me on the after show for The Proposal, which is kind of like The Bachelorette on steroids. It'll teach you about love, I guess.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. And my name is Zach Silverman. I'm your host. You can find me all across social media at Zach with a CH, Silverman too. Until next time, guys, have a good one.
See ya.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.